The Western Bulldogs blow away a sorry-looking St Kilda outfit that is basically praying that Naz stays with them if they're any shot of competing in the next couple of years. Wow, did they look absolutely pathetic. Even though Naz wasn't even at his best, they fell by 72 points to a Western Bulldogs side that didn't even have Bont and Pelly basically turn up, because he was tagged out of the game by Windtaker. So anyway, let's jump into this game review here from the Thursday night. And let's jump into the St Kilda side of it. So Rowan Marshall, and it's something that I've sort of seen over the last, I would say, not 12, more like 18 months with Rowan Marshall. I think I had him last year when he went in the 60s or whatever for SuperCoach. And we saw it in terms of the pricing. He's number one on fantasy for scoring. I think in the last couple of years, aside from this year because of Baz or whatever. But he's up there in terms of fantasy. If we just quickly look at this as well. Match Center, no, not Match Center, Stats Center here. And we go average. You'll see where is Rowan Marshall. He is somewhere here. Let's just go down a little bit further. I swear he's somewhere here in and around the marker. I'm actually going to have to search him up because it looks like he's nowhere close. Or I've just skipped over him. Marshall here is averaging for the year 100 on the dot. It looks like 99.7. So that puts him down around here, which is actually 21st. He's 21st here, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was like 30th, 35th for SuperCoach. And it just shows in this sort of, he never seems to be able to have a positive DT to SuperCoach ratio. And I just want to have a squiz at the hitouts to advantage because I feel like that is where the, I guess the outlier could be. If we go hitouts to advantage, Rowan Marshall 5 at 15.2%, had a rating of 1.8. and attended 79 ruck contests, whereas Tim English had 12 at 35.3. If we actually look at the hitouts, Tim English and Rowan Marshall within one of each other. And I think that is the big difference, is Rowan Marshall compared to other ruckmen just does not get, and I'm going to do one other double check here. If we go here, and then we go player stats, and we go all player, well, I can just do ruck contest because it will be in there. And then I go ruck contest, hit out to advantage here. You'll look at this and you'll go, where in the world is Rowan Marshall? Marshall sits at currently 5.8 hitouts to advantage this year. That is already half of what Tristan Cherry is doing. And we know a hitout to advantage gets you roughly 4 points. Roughly 4. So that means that he's missing out on somewhere close to 23 points in SuperCoach comparative to Tristan Cherry. And he still sits, if we look here at Rowan Marshall, he sits 27 hitouts, whereas Tristan Cherry sits at 36. So he's missing only 9 points per game in fantasy, but 23 points per game in SuperCoach, if we think of it like that. In terms of that, I know he's had some injury games, but then also if we look at it in 2024, you will see his hitouts were actually less at 26 in 2024, and his hitouts to advantage were still 6.7, but you can see that they were dropping dramatically, and also you can see Tristan Cherry has picked up. So that is the big difference there. It's just the hitouts to advantage rate. Rowan Marshall hasn't improved. Tristan Cherry has. So that's a big, big worry, I think, for the likes. And the rucks, HG, let me just quickly check what that means. Ruck hardball gets taking the possession directly out of the ruck. You've got Gawn, Cherry, and then you got Marshall at 3 in 2024. If we go to 2025 and we look at it, you got Gawn, Cherry, and then Marshall still at 2.5. So he's even dropped down than that. So he's just plainly losing the ruck contest comparative to other guys. And yeah, you can just see in pretty much all the stats, he is down on the main ruckman that are scoring in the terms of, can I actually do a little bit of a filter here for just sort of relevant ruckman? If I go SuperCoach and I go add and I just go, yeah, I want 80 SuperCoach. Let's just see if that will get rid of a lot of the guys here. Maybe will that 80 to like 120 maybe or something like that. Something like that. Does that get rid of a lot of the guys? Why isn't this working? If I go here and I go to the select statistical categories, that give me all of them, because you should be able to, let's go here. Oh, you know what it's going to need? I'm going to need to ruck, filter by ruck, and then that should get rid of all of the guys that I want basically in here, and that gives me this. So SuperCoach wise, you've got all these guys down here, and do I even have the likes of a Roll Marshall? Roll Marshall 90, 99 and 96, so he's basically even. So if I actually make this filter slightly more generous, I would say, to 90, and then get rid of this compounding one here, and you will see there's 13 guys in here. And then I can also just get rid of, do I want for games? Yeah, probably for games. Let's just put this up to 10 just to get some more guys out of there. So you got 11 guys in here that are realistically the top tier rucks. You got O'Brien, Meek, and Marshall below 100. And then you got a lot of guys in the top tier. Now let's look at their ruck stats, and you'll see exactly what I mean by this, that he isn't really doing well. So you got Darcy Cameron and him around about the same hitouts, but Darcy Cameron 1.3 hitouts more to advantage from basically the same amount of hitouts, and also winning them at a larger rate because he's taking less ruck contest percentage. You can see there 5 less ruck contests per game. So that is mega that difference is there. And then you've also got TDK lower, but a higher ruck contest, well, round about the same ruck contest, but then he's also at a ruck win percentage of slightly higher. And then he's also got the hitouts to advantage of plus 3.7 on the likes of Rowan Marshall. Then you can just keep on going up and you just see the difference. Look at this hitouts to advantage. Darcy Cameron is the lowest at 1.3 above, but then you've got Tristan Cherry, Jared Witts, Lloyd Meek, Riley O'Brien, Brody Grundy, all above 4.5 above him. That is huge. That is 18 points per game at least in fantasy SuperCoach, sorry. And that is the reason why a lot of these guys are scoring so much better than him in general. Like if we look at Max Gorn, he's at 9.8. He's also at 37 hitouts. So he's also just getting generally more points. But then we also look at and this is the real kicker why. If we look at disposal efficiency, Rowan Marshall is dead last. He's also almost dead last in kicking efficiency. And his handball efficiency is in the middle of the high-end middle of the pack, but it's really not really that different. And he also takes the second most kicks per game. But you can see the difference between the disposal efficiency of Rowan Marshall and Darcy Cameron there. So that is the big difference in terms of that. And then you'll also have the clangers where Rowan Marshall is top. And then you also have the disposal per clanger where he's basically near enough the bottom of the list. And then you've got also the turnovers where he is pretty much level with the likes of Brody Grundy in terms of one of the worst. And then you've also got the disposals per clanger where he is it's about middle of the pack there actually for that. So you can just see it there. It's the reason why he's not actually doing too well. Anyway, I've just pondered on for a lot about Rowan Marshall. Nassim Wanganeen-Milera, he had an absolute stunning game in terms of point scoring, but when you look at the actual output that he had in terms of his disposal efficiency and everything, it wasn't the best game. But then again, he still scored 128, 119 split. Jack Sinclair, amazing start, but then fell away a little bit. Lucky to get to the sort of split that he got to, but sort of happy that you take the 105 given the chaos around him. Jack Steele, 105. Wilkie, McRae back with an 82-87. He's going to be really cheap in a couple of weeks' time for those that got rid of him. Probably the best player in the end of things. But I couldn't value two trades basically to get him back in because he's going to start hitting the ground running because he had 72%, which I'm pretty sure is below what he usually does. McRae, let's just go quickly to McRae here. Where is he? He's somewhere here. McRae, if we look at match stats, McRae, where is he? For some reason, it's looking like it's just basically frozen out for McRae, which is weird. Let's go to my team and just see. Hopefully it hasn't messed up completely with McRae. There you go. You can see 82, 81, 82, a 74 here, but an 82, 82, 80, 92 there, 87, 87, 84. You can see it there with McRae that once he gets back up to speed, he'll have another 10% time on ground, which should be fine. And I feel like pretty sure he's coming into an easy patch of games, if my memory is correct. Collingwood, Fremantle, Hawthorn, Sydney. Geelong shouldn't be the worst, and playing a lot at Marvel Stadium, so he doesn't have to travel as well, so should be back to his best in the near future. And then basically no one else matters here except for Windhager and his tag job on the likes of Bont and Pelly. Then we move over to the likes of the Western Bulldogs. Bailey Williams just somehow pulled a 17-mark game. No one knows how, no one knows when, but I don't expect him to do that again. Bailey Dale, a really, really good game from him. He was basically left unchecked and went off. 36 touches, 10 marks. For those that have him, yep, really good type of selection that. I was just worried about the likes. If we go to actually the defenders and then we go to the average, you'll see that the Bailey Dale is still averaging 96 after that. And I think that was the big concern with me, is that he's very, very likely to drop a 60 in the near future. And so, especially against Sydney potentially will tag him, especially if they have Paps and Gordon back. So yeah, I'm really concerned about that, and that's why I didn't want to go for him. But I have a feeling he'll be one of the guys that I look at in the near future, as these defenders aren't doing too badly, to be honest with you, and then it could be a way to get really cheap guys in or around that $1 million marker, where a lot of the midfielders are somehow in that 1.1s, it feels like, or high 1 millions. Libba had a really good day off halfback. Tim English had a really good day in the ruck. Sam Darcy looked dominant as ever. When he reaches up to get the ball, no one can touch him. Ed Richards, a really, really efficient game. 15 contest possessions, 7 clearances, 138. He looks unstoppable. You probably need to tag him alongside tagging Bailey Dale, alongside tagging Bont and Pelly. That's how good their side is. Kennedy just gets the work done. 29 touches, 6 marks, and he kicked 2. So we got to a 107.97. If he'd had 3 or 4 more tackles, which is usually the norm with him, he ends up on like a 120, 105 split, and everyone goes, well, it's just Kennedy the way he is. And that's one thing that I've really liked in the last couple of weeks, is the differential he's had to Bont and Pelly is kind of crazy. He's gone plus 41 in the first game, and now plus 57 in the second game, post-buy in round 13 and 14 on Bont and Pelly. That is 41 plus 57. That is 98 point differential in 2 weeks on Bont and Pelly. That's almost a full week of points for a guy that was like 10k cheaper than Bont and Pelly. And he also has forward status. Riley Sanders got to 100 off 21 disposals, which is absolutely huge. Obviously kicked to 2 goals. So yeah, I think he's one that's going to, when he gets a midfield slot, that's going to be dangerous for fantasy. So we just need to watch that. Treloar, he piggied up in the last quarter. I think he had something like 50 points in the last quarter, if my memory serves me correct. Because he started the last quarter, I swear, on about 50 odd points, and then he ended up on 96. Let me look at it. So Kennedy had 46 points in the last, and Treloar 44, and then you have Bailey Williams on 39 alongside Steele. So yeah, he went off in the last. He had 11 touches. The likes of Kennedy had 8 and 2 goals. And Treloar had a goal in there as well. Huge numbers. 28 touches on his game back is huge, but he did mop up in sort of spare time. Joel Frazier, 81.09. He had somehow had 100% disposal efficiency, which is absolute mega numbers for 21 touches. McNeil, Davidson, etc. And then we get down to Bont and Pelly, 50.66. I'm just glad that I didn't go with him. If we look at, I think this will show it. Nathan, let's see if this, if I can grab up the right, let me see this one here. Here we go. So if we grab up here, and then we grab up the likes of, where are we looking at for going down here? Bont and Pelly. So in SuperCoach land, he'll be 585 with a break even of 179. If we can do this on DFS actually, and we can do this quickly because Bont and Pelly will be a big talking point for the next couple of weeks. And I was also thinking about this in terms of Bont and Pelly. Is it much? Because he's got the 50 baked in. Let's think about it like that. He's got the 50 baked in for fantasy. If we do this, and then I'll go to the SuperCoach and then look at that. But if he's got the 50 baked in, he's going to be down at 976k, 976. So if he goes sort of, let's actually do this, and then I'll retrack in the 50 here. So if we go here and we go here for Bont and Pelly, here are the numbers for Bont and Pelly. If he goes 110, 110, suddenly he's pricing back and around evens and he's 938k post. I think that's Sydney. I think this is the Sydney game. I think he's got Richmond this week. So let's actually do next week, sorry. So if we do this for Bontempelli, I think this is roughly about par. I think we can pick him up for 960k if he goes 130, 110. That's very, very good. So that's, and then if you start to think about it, if he goes 130 next week, a lot of the owners will be rejoicing, etc. about that. But I almost think about it as a 2-week block and almost a 3-week block. He's gone 90-50, 91-50, which is 140 points in 2 weeks. He's dropped about 80 points to the top liners, 98 points we said to Matt Kennedy. If he goes 130 next week, that's 271 across 3 weeks. 271 across 3 weeks is a 90 average. Then if he goes 110, obviously, so you need to start to readjust that because you're starting to just use a very long timeline. But if you start to think about it like the decision was from this week to get Bontempelli or not, and you decided not to, then if we look about it like this, then that's totally fine. That's 180 points across 2 weeks. You're winning out of that most times than not. And then say 290 across 3 weeks, you're probably about par. But in that 3 weeks, in that 290 across 3 weeks, he's gone down, what is it now? He's gone down 76k. Whereas if we go, that's 290 points. If we say he's going to average 97 in the 3 weeks, he's 978k rather than 963k. So that just shows how you've almost gained 15k for getting him in later than you would have if he just gone 97, 97. So that's that with fantasy. In SuperCoach, if we just go here quickly with the likes of Bontempelli here, and we go, he scored 66, right? So if we go here, he goes 66, then 66, that's even low, I swear. Why is it not? It's not like clamping in properly, but I'm going to just do something here to get the projected score right. I think he said 585, did he? Let's just see. 585.5 with a 18, yeah, 585.5. Yep, there you go. And then say he's going to go, and we will project this as a 66. Score, no, so not project it. We'll make it look like a 66. So if it goes 125, you are getting Bontempelli for 553k when he's gone 66, 125. That is 311 through 3 weeks, which is an average of 103. Now, if we do 103, it's at 553.1, 103, and I know it's going to be a little bit off. It's not going to be the greatest, but you can kind of see. I'm going to just adjust this to what I think it will be. 553, and it's now 568. So you can see the difference is 15k for almost the same output, realistically, because the multiplier is slightly off. But the same output, and I can even just show you this as well. If we go 125, and then we put this down to a 66, just to show you this. So it would be 574k for 125, which is 316. And 316 is 105. So if we go 105 here, and then we add that in, that would be 590. So it is about 15k difference that he drops. And we are projecting that he drops to roughly a, if we just go 125 here, and then we do it again and we put it down to 45 to get him onto the right break even, we say that he's going to probably project to drop to about the 550k marker with 125s by the end of the buys, which 550k for him at the end of the buys is going to be so damn cheap. It's going to be funny. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at with Bontempelli, is that I might get effectively him. You might have projected him to average 105, and he still might average 105 over the 3 weeks that we have from 14, 15, 16, but we're getting him 15, 20k cheaper because of this low score in his system. And that's pretty much it for this video here, going through the Thursday night footy game between the Saints and the Bulldogs, in which the Bulldogs won handsomely, but Bontempelli, interesting times, and we'll see how he goes later on. But if you guys did enjoy that, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and I will see you guys back here for the tips video later. Bye guys.